Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Westside Reformed Podcast. I'm here with Pastor Brandon. I'm Pastor Zach. Brandon serving at a new church plant, which we're going to talk about here briefly in just a second. And then I'm the pastor of Westside Reformed Church. But again, that's something we want to talk about here in just a moment. Lots of changes happening within the church that is currently called Westside Reformed Church. And we wanted to talk about that with you. And also to talk about that because that's going to mean some changes to our podcast in the upcoming months. And so how about to kick it off, Brandon, do you want to just remind the listeners, I think that they've heard a bit in a past episode, and we can put this in the show notes page in case someone's just starting to tune in, but could you talk about the church plant work that you are undertaking and maybe briefly mention the PhD that you're working on as well?
Sure, yeah. So I'm working on a PhD in Christian education and highlighting Cornelius Van Til and his educational theory and writing about that. So kind of my academic time is spent thinking about education and spent thinking about Van Til and his critiques of John Dewey and that kind of thing. And the PhD was going to, Lord willing, complete about mid-2025. And so until that time, I'm in kind of what some people call the year zero of church planting. And in year zero of church planting, we are building a core group, we're getting our name out there, we're building excitement and that kind of thing. And there's a lot of administrative things that we're doing in terms of websites and P.O. boxes and all the ins and outs that have to happen, kind of behind the scenes of things. But we're also going to begin having Sunday evening services in February of 2024, and Lord willing, we'll have that weekly for 18 months, all the way up until mid-2025, when Lord willing, we're ready to then launch, have morning services and evening services. That would be our ultimate hope. But we're going to be, again, walking through books. We're going to have a full-blown service Sunday evenings, and it'll be a way where, because Westside currently does not have an evening service, so many of their members might join us, but it'll be a good way for people to get to know the Reformed faith, Reformed worship, what things look like, and more particularly get to know Christ Reformed Church and what we are all about in Florence, Kentucky.
So big changes happening for Brandon. Also some big changes happening for Westside Reformed Church. We are at the tail end of finishing up a transfer deed to receive a property that is not in the West Side. And so we will be moving into what's called Uptown Cincinnati. There's downtown, which is literally down by the river. And then you go up the hill, and then you're in Uptown. And we've received a property there, and we're finishing all the legal paperwork on that one. But we'll begin the renovation process for that property. We're support raising right now. We will be repairing some major things and bringing the church building into the 21st century and making it just a joyful place while also respecting the historicity of the building as well. It was built in 1884, so it's a real a treasure that we're excited about, but it's going to take a lot of elbow grease and continued blessing from the Lord. That's going to necessitate a change in our church name, along with that change in geographical location, and we're working through that change in church name right now. We're working through various kind of architectural plans and like a master plan for what we're going to be doing with the facility. And so there's a lot going on the west side end of things as well. And so basic gist here is that there's of necessity need to change how we do things with the podcast. And so I think what you can expect then in the upcoming weeks and months is that there will still be a weekly podcast. Most likely what it will be until the summertime is 10 to 15 minute episodes that either Pastor Brandon or I do. something big's going on, we'll get together and maybe have a conversation together. But at least until the summertime, when homeschool finishes up for the two of us, and there's just a little bit slower life, then we'll be doing things by ourselves. Summertime hits, we intend to have conversations together like we are now and like you've probably become used to thus far. And then once we get back into the academic year in the fall, returning to that schedule of just the kind of individual 10 to 15 minutes episodes. Do you want to give people a little bit of an idea of what you're going to be doing this spring in terms of your personal episodes?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to be preaching through the book of Colossians at the church plant, and so I'm anticipating walking through maybe some things that I wasn't able to mention in the sermon, or maybe some things that had to be left out, some points of what Paul's doing, or maybe some points of application that I could expound upon. But I'll probably be doing something with Colossians coming up here in 2024.
And that's great, because I think that as any pastor, preacher knows, that there's a lot that is left on the chopping board.
Yes.
And that you wish you could get more deeply into something. And that seems like a nice opportunity for that. I, on the other hand, am planning on revisiting a topic that's been near and dear to my heart. And I haven't really been able to revisit it for a number of years. And that's the topic of Christian hospitality. And so my plan would then be to provide some teaching on that topic, utilizing some helpful books that I've read in the past, and also some really key texts of Scripture that help guide us as we think about Christians and welcoming the stranger, whether that means opening your home to fellow Christians that are in your church, or to people who are not in your church, or people who are visiting from outside the church, from somewhere else. Then we need to be thinking about what it means to live lives that are opening and readily opening our doors for other people who might not be like us, but because we are Christians and God has welcomed us into His heavenly household, we then ought to be creatures who readily, quickly open our doors for other people as well. So, a bit of a sneak peek as to what's to come. Anything else? We'll close this up? Or?
No, I think that's it. Thanks for joining us, and again, stay tuned for 2024 and all the kind of exciting things that we're planning, and hopefully it'll be a joy for you to learn more about hospitality and also the book of Colossians. If you want to visit our previous episodes, you can visit cincyreformed.org. And of course, right now we're sponsored by, as of right now, Westside Reformed Church. And you can visit us, as of right now, westsidereformed.org. But until next week, we look forward to seeing you.